So delighted that you joined us again today, and we're just going to be talking more about your body and what you can do to help yourself. Today I want to talk to you about paying attention to your body. Your body has a built-in warning system that lets you know that something is going on in your body. And the things that you're paying attention to may be just what will save your life. So, if your doctor has given you pills, don't just take a pill. You need to ask some questions. Where is this pain coming from? These are questions that only you can answer. What is causing this pain? What did I do to cause it? Am I under stress? Why isn't this over-the-counter medicine working? You have to pay attention to every detail of your body and what's going on with your body. Don't just assume that by taking a pill you're getting rid of your pain. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it. And so you want to make sure that you're not just covering your pain, that you are aware of what's going on. Be aware of your own body. Know your body. Know what makes you feel good and also know what makes you feel ill. If a piece of cheesecake will give you a stroke, then you need to pay attention to that. You need to pay attention to your blood sugar and the kinds of foods that you eat that will cause problems for you. So you make sure you're having all of that. Also, make sure you're having proper bowel eliminations. Now, most people don't want to talk about that, but you need to have proper bowel eliminations. And you need to check your body for knots, for lumps, for rashes, or anything, and even moles on your skin. You need to pay attention to that. Don't just assume anything. Everything is there for a reason. The beautiful thing about who God is that He gave us a warning system in our bodies. And in that warning system, He has allowed us to know something is going on. Your body just doesn't get sick. It gets sick because we are not paying attention to it. You can have warning signs to lead to cancer or stroke or diabetes or anything else that's going on in your body. So you need to see a doctor. And after you see a doctor and get what his opinions are, go behind your doctor. Do some research on your own. When he tells you you have a diagnosis that he feels that is it, do your research to find out if this is what's causing this, or is there something else I can do, or is there a natural way for me to heal myself with what's going on with myself. Also, when you go to your doctors, you need a list of things. You know more about what's going on with you than your doctor knows. So when you're talking to your doctor, you have your list. This is what's happening to me. These are the pills I'm taking. Making sure that your pills don't override with other pills that you have. You need to know about the side effects of all the pills that you're taking. Why? Because those side effects could kill you. So you need to know what they are and how they react to your body, and also how they react to the certain foods that you eat. For example, some medications may react to chocolate. If you have a piece of chocolate after taking that medication, you need to be aware of all those things. What are the side effects? What can I have and what can I not have while I'm taking this medicine? And also, you need to make sure that you're not taking your medicine with Coke or Pepsi or Sierra Mist, of all those good things you like to drink. You need to take your medication with water, and you need to take it with plenty of water so that whatever is going on in your system, the medicine can get into your system and do what it needs to do. Know what medications cannot be taken with over-the-counter medications. Sometimes we take medicines from our doctors and over-the-counter medicines, and they may have really bad side effects for you. So you need to know what you can and cannot mix. That also goes for natural medicines too. You need to pay attention so you're not overriding one medicine or blocking out what the other medicine is doing for your body. You would be surprised how many people take medicine and don't ever read the side effects. They just pop a pill because their doctor said take this pill, and sometimes you're taking pills at your own health risk. So pay attention to what you're doing. Also, it's necessary for you to read labels. Read the label, read what the side effects say, All pharmacists now have to give you information, and some people just take that information, they never read it, they never know the side effects, and they can't figure out why I'm still getting sicker instead of getting well. So you read those labels. Just because the doctor gave it to you doesn't mean it's right. So as you're reading those labels, you're building up the knowledge that you have. There are a lot of websites that you can go to get a whole heap of information about what's going on with you. So you want to do that too. And you want to get second and third opinions. If you don't feel good about the diagnosis that the doctor has given you, make sure you get a second and third opinion. And in third opinions, what you're getting is probably the right diagnosis. If your first doctor gives you something and then the second doctor gives you something totally different and the third doctor gives you something totally different, you probably don't have the right diagnosis. However, somewhere in that you might have that right diagnosis. So you want to make sure you're getting your second and third opinions. Talk to those who've gone through the same kind of experiences, especially those with positive attitudes, making sure that the people that you are around has a positive attitude so that you don't get discouraged and get depressed about what's going on. I'm going to be talking to you more about this in just 1 minute.
How far would you go to keep your vision? Anyone with diabetes is at risk for vision loss.
Diabetic eye diseases can sneak up without symptoms,
But these diseases can be treated
and vision loss prevented.
if they're caught with early screening.
If you have diabetes,
Have a dilated eye exam once a year. It's an hour of your time and worth it. How far would you go to keep your vision?
Today we're talking to you about paying attention to your body, and we want you to listen to your body. When you're listening to your body talks. That is so amazing to me what God did for us. He put in warning signs in our bodies so that our bodies can speak to us. Most of us go through life, we never pay attention to what our bodies are telling us. So if you have a headache, you just pop a pill. You don't ask, where's this headache coming from? If you have a backache or you have any kind of ache and pain in your body, you never ask the question, where is this coming from? So before you pop a pill, what we want you to do is pay attention to your body, finding out where this headache is coming from. You may wake up in the mornings and have headaches. Sometimes it's just because of low blood sugar when you hadn't had any food and you wake up and you have a headache. But if you eat something, you find that this headache goes. Before popping a pill, just ask the questions. Where's this headache coming from? What's going on with me? Because pills cover up sometimes what's going on with you. And so you want to listen to your body, pay attention to it. If you're given medications, you want to finish all the medications, especially when you're given medications for antibiotics. Sometimes people take an antibiotic until they feel better and then they stop taking that antibiotic when your prescription says you should take this for 5, 7, or 14 days. So you should finish all the medications, especially in antibiotics, because you want them to do the job that they are designed to do. And then pay attention too to what you're eating when you're on antibiotics, like eggs. Eggs and juice and milk doesn't mix with antibiotics, so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your body so that your antibiotic can do the work that it is designed to do. Get your proper rest. Whenever you're sick or your body is feeling low, sometimes you just need a Sabbath day or a couple of Sabbath days. The Bible says that God worked for 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested, and you're not bigger than God, so you need to take a Sabbath day for yourself. Just rest. Just turn off the phones, turn off the TV, and say, this is my Sabbath. I'm just going to rest. I'm going to rest my body, rest my mind. I'm not going to work today. I'm not going to be confused today or upset today or mad today or angry today. Don't die today because I'm too busy serving my Jesus. I ain't got time to die. So take your medications, take it with plenty of water so that you can get all the things that you need to get done while you're sick. If you get a rash and start to swell, you need to get help immediately. because your body is telling that you are allergic to something. So if you're taking medication and your tongue starts to swell or you get a rash on your body, contact your emergency room or contact somebody that can get you to the proper help that you need, because it's very important that you do that. If you have shortness of breath or temporary blindness, seek professional help immediately. A lot of people have strokes shortly after leaving a church meal. We don't pay attention to diabetic people that are in our congregation. So what happens is we have cakes and pies, 5, 6 carbs in the same meal, and we never pay attention. So your stroke will not happen the first hour, and sometimes not in the second hour, but the third hour can take you out. You can have a stroke. So you need to pay attention if you're getting any signs or warning signs, and find out what the warning signs are for different types of things that happens in your body. Your body just doesn't get sick. It gets sick over a period of time where we just neglect our bodies and don't pay attention. I know I had warning signs before my cancer. I had the signs, but in my mind I was too busy serving my Jesus. I didn't have time to die. I was just so busy. No time for myself, no time to just rest. I was just busy, and it ended up for me a disastrous thing. So I always say God made me to lie down in green pastures, because I personally didn't have sense enough to do that on my own. So you take your proper dose amount. In other words, don't overdose yourself in the medications that you have been given. Pay attention, don't overdose yourself. And then also prepare yourself in case of an emergency. Have the emergency numbers available to you, somewhere that they can be easily accessed to you. It's hard to try to call the police or a doctor or an ambulance when you don't have the proper numbers available. So you want to do that. And then if you have diabetes or some kind of blood work that needs to be identified, wear identification bracelets so that people can see that you are diabetic and not give you a medication that may cause you problems or cannot be resolved too easily. Know your body type. At some point, you need to find out when people are taking your blood or you're at your doctor's office, just ask them a question. What kind of blood type am I? Am I A, B positive, whatever? You want to find that out, because eventually it might save your life when you're in a situation and you may be bleeding. You can say, I'm type B blood type, and they don't have to go crazy trying to figure this out in a lab or something. So you want to know that. To prevent AIDS, store up your own blood. If you're concerned about getting a blood transfusion that may cause AIDS in the body, store up your own blood. You can do that by just going and having your blood taken, so that if there's ever an emergency, you have stored up blood for yourself. You want to follow your doctor's orders, especially if you trust him. Now, some people trust their doctors, but if you don't trust the doctor, get another one that you can trust, because that's important to you. I always suggest keep a diary of the foods that you eat. Why? Especially when you're sick or something is wrong in your body, because in keeping that diary, if something makes you sick, you will know. You can go back and pinpoint exactly what it was. You can say, I had this cheesecake and it didn't set well with my stomach, or I had something that caused me to have sickness in my body, diarrhea, or any of those kinds of things. You want to be able to keep a food log so that you know, and you can explain to whoever what you had, and then they can look at you from that kind of perspective. Never take prescriptions that have somebody else's name on it. I know sometimes we say, well, I have this pain medicine, and or your mama's taking this, or your brother or sister's taking this, and say, I have this pain medicine, but that might not be the pain medicine for you. So you shouldn't take somebody else's prescription because you have diagnosed your own case. Get a pill box so you can remember the medications that you are taking. Put them in a pill box. Label your pill box for yourself so that you can take your proper doses. Educate yourself on the condition and be ready to explain what you know to your doctor. Most of us go to the doctor expecting the doctor to tell us what's wrong with us. You go to the doctor because you are sick, and when you do go, know what's happening to you. Be able to explain where your pain is, what kind of pain, how dull it is, what is happening. Did you eat something? Is the medication causing that kind of pain? So when you get that information and you're going and you're talking about it, boy, what a difference that makes, because your doctor is not God, and he cannot read your mind and tell you what's wrong with you. That's why they always tell you, well, let's try this, and if this works, we have worked out your problem. But if it doesn't work, come back in 3 weeks and I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this, and you keep coming back trying new medications. But if you know how to keep a log of what's going on with you, what's going to happen is you're going to be better off. Your doctor is going to be thankful that you know something about what's going on, and he's going to be careful on how he is diagnosing your case. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your own logs and doing that. You want to, you don't assume that your doctor knows everything. He does not. He is basing his diagnosis on what you're telling him, and that's why you have to know what's going on with you, know when these pains started. And it's okay to keep a log. Sometimes we all forget some things, you know. Just because we're cute doesn't mean that we don't forget. So you want to keep a log of what's going on with you so that you can remember these things when you get into your doctor's office. Watch out for rashes and patches on the skin. Your body may be giving you a sign of some kind of warning. So what is happening is, oh, I have a boil. And a boil symbolizes infection in your body. If when there's a boil, not just on you, but also on your children, pay attention to that. Why is this child having a boil on their body? Infection is in the body. This needs to be taken care of, and soon. You don't want infection to linger in the body because it makes the body sick and it leads to other problems. Don't wear clothing that are uncomfortable and too tight. It may cause skin problems and yeast infection. Now, most of us have yeast in the body. It doesn't always mean that you're having vaginal yeast, but you have yeast throughout the body, and it's important that you paying attention to your body. And sometimes, especially ladies, we wear our pants too tight, which causes even more yeast in our body. So you have to pay attention to what's going on so that you can get the proper cure for that. Pay attention to your feet and check them often for sores and infections. Now, most of us who, especially people who have diabetes, don't pay attention to their feet. If your toenails are turning different colors, if they're dark, you need to pay attention because you may have a fungus in the body. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your feet, that you're washing them properly and drying them properly, and looking at the nail to make sure that funguses is not growing in the body. Now, if the body does have a function, there's something simple for you to do. It's called FungaCure. Just take the FungaCure, put it on your toes, and that will start curing it. But if you can't afford FungaCure, take a simple hair dryer, and when you get out of the shower, dry your feet with a hair dryer. This will kill any funguses that's laying around in your body. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to your feet, because if you are diabetic and you have foot problems, it can lead to gangrene, it can lead to amputations, and some of this doesn't have to be just by paying attention to what God has done. You're having chest pains, you want to make sure that you are not just having gas or bloating in the stomach. Ask questions, pay attention, know the warning signs so that you can get rid of a lot of stuff that's going on. And if you are having gas in your stomach, or if you're having chest pains, when you get to an emergency room, make sure you're asking your doctor to check for low potassium, because low potassium simulates a heart attack, and your doctor will not do that first. He will go ahead and do a heart cath on you, but you want to ask him that question. Doc, can you check my potassium before we have this heart cath? That way, if it's low potassium, he can correct that problem and your chest pains will be resolved because of that. So you don't want to ignore a mass, you don't want to ignore a bruise or a lump or a mole or any other noticeable change in your body. We have to look at our bodies, look at your breasts, make sure that you are not seeing any difference in the changes in your breast or anywhere else on your body. Moles, men are very good at not paying attention to moles in their bodies or even skin tags. Pay attention so that you can rid yourself of some of this stuff. The beauty of knowing your own body and paying attention to your own body is that God has given you these warning signs in your body so that you don't have to be sick and so that you can pay attention and get better with what's going on with you. These helpful hints will help you to pay attention to who you are, pay attention to your body, and know yourself. Once you know yourself, you will be surprised how you can get well again. Sickness is not always unto death, but depression will allow us to do that. So you got to pay attention, you got to get your mind in gear, and you got to get busy and get ready to go to work. We hope that this show will be helpful and beneficial to you and to your family, and we're going to be showing you a lot of new things and how to cure cancer in your body. I know, I'm a cancer survivor with no chemo. So on that note, I will see you next time.
We would like to continue our series on dealing with negative emotions and how negative emotions can affect you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Last time we saw where anger can create stress, put stress on the organs, put stress on the heart, and that many people many times will die because they've have not dealt properly with the emotions called anger. So this afternoon, I'd like to deal with the different types of anger. And the first type I'd like to deal with this afternoon is called chronic anger. This anger is a form of rage that is ongoing, caused by resentment of life and other people. It is also a form of anger directed at self. It is unhealthy and puts great stress on one's immune system. So if anger is chronic, it's not dealt with properly, and it's ongoing, it's going to continue to put stress on the immune system. And we know that if the immune system is weak, then all kinds of diseases can take over the body, which create problems and eventually will lead to death. Another type of anger is called volatile anger. That is that explosive anger. It is very intense. It leads to physical or verbal outbursts triggered by a lot of misplaced, wrong, and personal annoyance with people. This type of anger that has these outbursts, it just a person just goes into a rage, it explodes. If that's not dealt with as well, it can create a lot of physical problems and a lot of hurtful emotions and pent-up frustrations that comes into a person's life. Another one is judgmental anger. This is anger caused by unfavorable judgments made by other people or situations, which leads to resentment. This is expressed by critical and hurtful comments directed at the source of anger. So judgmental anger is an anger, it says hurtful things to somebody else. Many times we can say it's like a vengeful anger. We want to get back at another person because they have hurt us in some way, some situation. And so we become very, very critical. We become very, very judgmental. And when that becomes a part of our personality, it creates problems for the body as well. And then there's overwhelming anger. This anger is caused by circumstances becoming too great for a person to cope with. For example, you got deadlines to meet, and it's tight, and you're not able to come through, and you feel like the job may be too demanding. That'll create problems. People who are struggling to raise kids by themselves. That also, you feel they have feelings of just too much to bear. And I tell people, particularly Christian people in church, that don't allow anger to build up in you. if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you are expecting someone to help you do some ministry in the church and they don't show up, just do the best that you can do and leave the rest undone. Don't allow anger to build up in your life and in your body, because you'll begin to be mad with yourself, you'll be mad with God, you'll be mad with other people, and that's going to create all kind of havoc in the body. The one type of anger that's particularly very subtle, and that is hidden anger. That is anger that is suppressed, which comes to the surface occasionally, especially when someone does or say something wrong innocently and you blow up. This type of anger is sparked by something in the present that feeds off past hurts or disappointments. It may be expressed through sarcasm, avoidance, subpar performance to get back at an individual. You may be unaware that you're doing this. This is hidden, it's under the surface. This anger can last a long time. We see this happens a lot in marriages, where a couple has suppressed a certain a hurt that has been said to them. And 20 years later, it comes up. So if it's not properly dealt with, it'll create problems. Until next time, God bless you.